All right, bang, bang. Today is Thursday. It is December 16th. Welcome to the Dog Walk presented by Barstool Sports. Got another free swim for you here today, but we don't have the usual suspects. Kind of filling in for Dante here. We have Jim Graziano, third time.
Big
You're gonna hear about it. He's gonna grade your performance and be like, "What the fuck, Ed?"
I'll get him a bottle of olive oil and he'll forget about it quickly, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, you get him like the big tins, right?
Yeah, he gets
he imports
3 liter.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Now he's getting that. I feel like that's almost like that's a show off move getting a 10. Is that? Would you agree or not?
To be very honest, for how long we've been around, it was different for me to start carrying smaller bottles because everybody bought gallons, or when it's from Europe, it's a 3 liter, which is a little smaller than a gallon. Buying 1 liter glass jars to me was the new thing to do because I was always used to buying just like that big bulk stuff. So he kind of shops old school.
When I told Dante that I got like my olive oil at I get like the organic like olive oil import whatever, and it's in a glass bottle. He looked at me like I was trash. He's like, you don't know what the fuck you're doing.
Something about the tin.
Something about the tin. We were over at his house, I think, for the chili cook-off last year, and that's when it came up. And he's like, "You cook with what? Like you're a bum. Like you don't know anything." Yeah,
he knows the good stuff.
He does.
Sure. He really does.
Well, it's good to have you back, Jim. We got a couple things to talk about today. We got we watched the doc, so we'll get into that.
Yep.
And before we kick it off, though, you brought up chili. I mean, if you eat some chili, you got to take a shit.
Yeah.
So naturally, we got to talk about Dude Wipes. Jim, have you met the Dude Wipes guys yet?
I haven't met them. We've chatted over social media a little bit here and there.
Okay. Have you used their products?
I've used like you like that shower one. Like I love the golf.
Mm-hmm.
There's
I'm the dude shower guy.
Yeah, in my bag all the time. Mm-hmm. There's a thing of those Dude Wipes. Like the shower one. One of the first Barstool Classics I went to, they had a great display out there. So grabbed a couple sample things and then went to the store, and I use it all the time.
Look at that. That's how it works. You get them involved, and then Barstool Classic. Now they got someone who's in. So.
No, it's a great product in Chicago, guys. Got to love that. It feels like there's some sort of natural collaboration between them and I. Maybe we'll get together for something.
Yeah. Of course. So Dude Wipes, you guys know the drill by now. Dude Showers, they got everything there. The powder. I think they got some... They got the deodorant. They got a bunch of everything.
The other one that we don't talk about enough that I think gets slept on is basically like a smelling salt dude wipe. The re-energizer one where you just wipe it on. You get your face.
The face wipe. Yeah, face wipe. That's very nice.
And I think it has like eucalyptus or something in it, and you smell it, and you get like a little bit more awake. So that's a great product.
It's a nice thing to pull out midday.
Big time.
Oh yeah, I was big on the March Madness streams. We were there for sitting at Joe's for like 12 hours.
Sitting at Joe's, you're trying to calculate if the over is going to hit with 5 minutes to go, and
so we needed Dude Wipes. So go check them out. DudeWipes.com. Use code BC15 for 15% off your entire order, or they're at Amazon, Walmart, Target. Go check out Dude Wipes. So how's everything been, Jimmy? Did you? I think you lost the sandwich draft, but you were.
I got my teeth kicked in the sandwich draft. I hold a huge grudge, that's for sure. Carl winning it was outrageous. The guy takes a ham sandwich.
You're preaching to the choir, man.
And we freaked him out because he picked something before that, and he scrambled into a ham sandwich.
What did he pick?
And what blows my mind was, and maybe people are just being nice when they see me, but so many of your guys, you guys drive so many people to our store, and they're like, "I loved you on the sandwich draft. Love you on the sandwich draft."
You were a great guest on that draft. Actually.
Well, who the hell voted? Who did welcome? I think it's like the 3rd or 4th least votes ever. I'm like in large range.
Large has the record.
Oh, really?
For that,
you had a 3rd. Well,
it's bad.
I mean, you know what you did though. You took some things that people
drafted
necessarily
the best
know about.
sandwiches that you could possibly draft. That's
Jim,
what I did.
You did the chief.
You
took the things that are great that people don't necessarily know about that you love, which is drafting with integrity.
Yep.
Welcome to the Barada gang.
Yeah.
And sometimes you got to pay the price for it, but
as you know, I'm a card-carrying member of the Barada gang.
Of course,
and yes, you always stay true to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still working on a Samita collaboration, so I can reintroduce, or however you want to call it, to people in Chicago to show you what an incredible sandwich that is. And I stand by everything that I took. and I want back on a draft for some vengeance.
All right,
We'll do another sandwich draft after you do the Samita collaboration. Then you win going away.
The sandwich drafted super well.
Yeah, people love that one.
It was a good one.
Yeah,
I thought it was great. Old office too.
Yep.
Right. R.I.P. Missed that.
All right. This is a little better though, right?
What do you think of the new one?
This is unbelievable. You guys invited me here before. I have seen it. It's the first time I've been on a show. The card table is just absolutely sick. And the main office, right? The Red Line Radio Studio. Is that what we call that? I mean, I'm super proud of you guys. I can't even tell you. You know, we started off as business things. We've really turned into some really great friends. It's I don't care what the industry is, right? When you see people work hard, grow, get to the next stages, that makes me feel unbelievable. You guys have earned this 10 times over. You should be very proud of yourselves. And I know you're just still getting going. So sky's the limit.
Jim, like you're day one ground floor guy. So like we love that you're here. I think we both appreciate that friendship too. So it's worked out better.
This was like our pseudo brick by brick, which Prez says like this was it. You were one of the first bricks. So we appreciate you. You were the first ad for this show. So and then we've just taken it so many ways. We got the beef kits in front of you, in front of me. TasteRealChicago.com. I mean, how's it been going? Like we're almost a year into this thing now. Kind of.
It started in May.
2020.
Sorry,
we start talking about it.
A year ago, right? Because it was November, December that we kind of started throwing some ideas out. I pitched it to you and stuff like that, and then they started May of 2021. Enormous. I mean, in the first day was just like one of the coolest days in the world. My phone there was just smoke pouring out of my phone, and so much so that it like broke the website for a little bit. Got that fixed up, and it's been unbelievable. A huge run for Christmas. I mean, you know, we have them in the store as well, so just moving those like crazy. Our buddy Jordan from the Home Depot hot dog stands, they sell them there. You know, it's amazing how people reach out to me for these things, and I think it's been a huge winner. Absolutely delicious products. You could do the venison with it. People do pork butts with it. You could do chicken with it. Yeah. You know, that Italian beef seasoning, that's an everyday spice. I put that on everything that I cook. So it was a lot of fun. You know what I mean? I thought it was really cool to come up with a product from you guys. It's had a lot of success, and I look forward to keep rolling right along, man.
You know what this is the perfect size for?
A stocking?
Fuck yeah, it is. Yeah.
And what you said too, you don't even have to get the full kit. You could just get the seasoning. You can just get the jar. Like it could be compartmentalized. You don't got to.
And really, you know, a lot of people, there's still some people that think maybe it's a little too hot. And I get it. I might not be the best judge of heat because I'm maybe just so desensitized to this stuff. So, you know, if you're listening, you're doing the beef kit, if you want to control the heat in this one is more in the oil than anything. Yeah. So you could always drain the oil from the peppers before you put the peppers in with the beef, and it won't be as hot. Or the other thing to do, like you said, since we sell it individually, grab a bottle of the mild giardiniera with the Italian beef seasoning. The recipe for this is on the beef seasoning, and make it the same way, just using the mild peppers. You're gonna have no heat at all.
Yeah. So my dad has always been like a huge hot sauce guy. You know, hot sauce on everything. And I told him about the large trick, which is to fry some eggs in the oil. It was like the first time he's been proud of me in a long time. So it's a great trick.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun to mess around with this stuff. I use that. I mean, I grab like empty squeeze bottles, and I have squeeze bottles in my house of hot oil and mild oil, and that's it, man. Just like there isn't a thing that I cook that really isn't cooked in giardiniera oil.
Well, then you're not the best judge for how spicy things are.
I mean, I could eat the hot I'm not trying to be like a hard ass or anything, but I could eat the hot giardiniera with a spoon out of the jar. Like it just doesn't get to
Were you a Simpsons fan?
Yeah,
there's this one episode where he like
the pepper with the wax
pepper. Yeah, he puts wax down his throat. Like you just have that naturally. Yeah,
I think I do. It's built up over time. Yeah, believe me. My dad would make fun of me back in the day because I couldn't handle the hot. I couldn't. But you know, little by little, and it adds a ton of flavor. Nice little zip to anything that you're making. And then we're introducing that giardiniera seasoning.
Oh yeah,
I brought you guys some of that today. It's in store now for the holidays. We're going to get that on TasteRealChicago.com mid-January or so. And that really opens up the cooking because again, it's like an all-purpose seasoning. Yep. I just sprinkle that on everything that I'm making.
Little spritz, little sprinkle.
That's good to go. Yeah.
No, that's great. And then you said that. Do you have a next collaboration coming up, or do you?
I got a couple planned for next year.
Okay.
Yeah, there's actually a guy, I think I tried to connect you with, Billy Z.
Yeah.
He's a really good customer. He reached out to me. We'll let that kind of play out a little bit more, but we're going to do something with him. I met a guy, Oscar, from Bira Tacos. We're going to do that. I'm going to try to get that Semita one going with a buddy of mine, John Zaragoza. Joe Flom, who's another mutual friend of ours.
Yep.
We're going to try to work something out for next year. And those have been a lot of fun, man. These collaborations, it's really neat to bring in their people, they get your people, everybody kind of gets each other shine, and you kind of grow together and just make something super delicious.
For sure.
Dave and I were out of town when we did the Green Street meat sausage, and he was devastated, devastated.
Honestly, that was one of the best things I've ever had made with our giardiniera.
Was it better than the
meatball one was?
No, the smokeout guys.
Oh, Evan Leroy.
Yeah.
Man. It's like your kids, man. It's so hard. it's so hard to pick a favorite. Like when people talk about best hot dog or beef, or the best one is always the one in front of you.
Yeah.
I've always felt.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Man, maybe I'd have to rank them at some point, but that sausage.
Maybe that's our next draft.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the next draft.
Collaborations.
JPG collaborations.
Yeah.
That sausage was just Dave from, Green Street is
Yeah.
absolutely one of the best barbecue places in the city. And, obviously we're right down the block from each other. So, and that was one of the guys I gave the giardiniera seasoning to use to mess around with. And that's what he came up with. And he mimicked an Italian beef. It was all beef sausage with the giardiniera seasoning, rough cut giardiniera in there provolone, and then he smoked them. So it wasn't only that. It was any smoked sausage is unbelievable. And then you throw some cheese and some giardiniera and that seasoning in there. We're talking about maybe getting some of those packed up. So another little project I'm working
Jim,
on.
Please do.
Yeah, we'll get you. We'll get you on the early adapters list.
Yeah.
But that one was, and he even smoked the beef juice that you use. He smoked that.
Oh.
So that flavor was in there. It was like put your head through a wall. Unbelievable.
Big time.
That was a good one.
Hey, let's take a quick break here as well to talk about Roman. And while we're talking about waste, there's nothing worse than wasting the load. Let's be honest. You don't want to be quick. You don't want to be in and out. Nobody wants to do that. You work so hard to build that thing up, so don't waste your loads. And that's why Roman is here with the swipes to help you last longer in bed. So stop using those old methods to try to last longer in bed and start using Roman swipes, because Roman swipes are a clinically proven way to last longer in bed. They're effective, easy to use, and they're fast acting, but they don't require a prescription. Roman can ship swipes to you in discreet, unmarked packaging, and each swipe packet is small enough to hide in your wallet for whenever you need it. They're super easy to use. Just take the swipe out of the packet, swipe it on, let it dry, and you're good to go. That's it. Go to GetRoman.com/walk. You could get your first month of swipes for just $5 when you choose a monthly plan. That's GetRoman.com/walk. Make sure you're going to check that out, okay? We don't want you wasting that. It's a big waste is the word today. It's all about waste. So don't waste the loads. Start using GetRoman.com/walk and get those swipes. All right, let's hop back into the episode. So we also watched a doc, like I said. The one we watched was called Just Eat It, a food waste story. Jim, we'll lead off with you. What was your takeaway?
I think I might be a little closer to that stuff maybe than you guys, right? With a ton of wholesale and distribution back in the day. I've been in and out of a million of the back restaurants, grocery stores, supermarkets, you name it. And I've seen all of that firsthand. And I was still blown away by just the sheer volume of stuff that just gets tossed. And it seems like a problem that's definitely not going to go away anytime soon, and something that really everybody's going to have to, if we're going to make this better, this is going to be like a really big thing that everybody's going to have to pitch in on, either at your house or your own restaurant or your supermarket, to get any kind of clear way on this. It's a pretty massive problem.
Well, like some of the numbers that they were throwing out is that 40% of all food produced gets thrown away.
Right.
And, we talk about what's going on in America right now, and I'm sure other places too, with inflation, and it's really hurting some of these these families that are on the, the lower end of the economic scale, where it's like that gallon of milk that used to cost you $3.50, now that costs $5.99, that's a big problem. And I wonder if the market was just flooded with more abundance because less was getting thrown away, if that would curb, you have more supply to meet the demand, if that would curb some of, the food cost issues. But it's like a tragedy that so much good food and all the resources that gets put into coming up with that banana, that pepper, that whatever it is, just gets thrown away, and there's no use for it. So and it ends up in landfills, and it's really like it's one of those things where it's like this should be to me like one of those things that gets talked about all the time, like on the news. Like this is to me, it sounds like that documentary. And again, everybody has an angle, every documentary has an angle, but it does feel like this should be more of like a crisis. And it's just not, and I think everybody probably in this room is guilty of it. Like I let that milk turn and throw it away.
The thing I was stunned about was that most of it comes from households.
Right.
Yeah. Well,
that was the fact. Instead of restaurants or wholesale.
Restaurants know how to squeeze every little thing out of everything that they bring in, and they're controlling food costs. And, I don't think restaurants are going to be a main source of like, we got to fix this problem up. It's at your house and really supermarkets and stuff. Quickly on the flip side of what you were saying though, but like that one farmer had talked about like zucchini in particular, and he said, we could plant less, but then when the season comes for it, we're not going to have enough.
Right.
And farms could really, I think, take care of themselves, right? Because they need compost at some point anyway, so that could automatically kind of like. They could take care of their own problem. I'm surprised though. Honestly, one of the things, and this might sound ridiculous, but because so many of them comes out of homes, like the biggest problem, right, coming out of homes, is like, why don't they just like like your recycling service? Why don't they have a service like that where like you get, you scrape your plate into the thing, or a pepper in the fridge starts to rot. Why aren't you filling up like, a green bag? You put it out with your garbage. It gets picked up by that. It gets brought to a farm. There's compost being made. I mean, It seems like.
All right. So I wasn't going to say this because I think it's a legitimately good business idea that I was not. I'm not going to look into it.
All right.
Okay. But you, Jim, maybe this is our collaboration.
All right.
But, so in the beginning of the doc, there was the peach farmer, right? And he's like, we get if this one has a little nick on it. It's a little bit misshapen.
Right.
Sometimes we'll be able to sell it for like jellies or jams or stuff, but he's like, 85% of this we just have to throw away.
Right.
No. I'm going to come by with like a big 18-wheeler. Give me all your shit.
Right.
I'm going to drive and go to all these different farms. So I will take care of the cost that it would normally cost you to destroy it or put it in a landfill or something like that. You give that to me. Find the cheapest, shittiest land somewhere, some kind of tax haven type place.
Yep.
Texas, Oklahoma, whatever, and we're going to dig a big hole, and we're just going to start a giant compost pile.
Right.
And then we're going to take that compost and sell it back to the farmer. Hey, like this is good organic soil, and now you're not paying for nitrogen, other fertilizers, things like that damage the soil, that cause you problems, that cause disease and all sorts of other things, erosion. We're bringing soil that came from you back to you.
Right. And
for a fee. And then if you don't sell some, you bag it up and you sell it to people like my sister,
right,
who have their own home gardens for $15 a pound.
Yep.
And you got a nice business. And then phase 2, which I didn't tell you, was you get more money, you get more infrastructure for like an extra dump truck that is just for green compost material. Jim and I are on.
I like it. I mean, it seems like there's a massive problem, but a solution doesn't seem that far off. If somebody really. Yeah.
If somebody does it, hand up.
Digs in and get it done. Like, there's people need that final product of that compost, right?
Yep.
All these people are throwing out food. Well, here we go.
Yep.
Here's a real easy way to kind of gather that up. But, societies, I don't know. It takes a lot, as we've seen with a lot of things lately.
Yeah.
It takes a lot to convince society to change what they're used to and stuff like that. So
a big component too was, besides it was a big educator about food waste, but there was 2 people. It was a couple who did this is for people who didn't watch it. They did a 6-month challenge of only eating discarded food. I would have lasted a day.
They were literally in dumpsters, Ed. I'm not going in that dumpster for that banana or that carton of eggs. Sorry.
You think you could have done it?
I'm not going in a dumpster for food, man. I mean, I put food in a dumpster, and those things, that's not happening. But have you seen, like, there's people that will, like, go to a Whole Foods dumpster,
dude, that actually,
which are like pristine.
Yes, the timing is crazy because I think Nate blogged something yesterday about Whole Foods had like there was like stuff. He's like, oh, stuff's not even expired. And it's like, well, yeah, we learned on that.
Brand new organic turkeys and stuff like that. So, you know, I mean, if you're in that situation, I'm sure you could pick the right spots, but it's those things are some jarring to see, like those eggs that they showed, or like that hummus that one time. I mean,
the hummus was insane.
That's insane. It's wild, and it's you know, the American consumer, we've gotten used to what we want, right? You want the prettiest thing. That farmer's market guy was saying with the chart, like if this thing was packed, people buy them like crazy. But there's one or two left, nobody grabs it.
Right. So you almost have to grow enough so it looks like it's not the like everyone else left this last one, which I definitely like. I'm guilty of that too.
Well, I worked at Jewel in high school, and I remember thinking always,
Me too.
Yeah, keep going out there. Yeah, keep putting the apples on. I was in produce, and I was like, dude, there's enough.
Not the one on Cumberland, was it?
No, I was at Park Ridge.
Okay.
Park Ridge, yeah, Bussy. And but you know what I mean? I was in produce, and they're always like, no, get the bulk and divine tomatoes. Keep getting them out. I'm like, dude, there's way more. Like, but like they just keep, you know. And now, like, I don't know, it's psychological.
And they make those fruit trays from the ones that are like, you know, an apple gets dropped or whatever, and one side's bruised. That's how those fruit what can I say, that fruit trays come to be in those stores. It's like, you know, cutting off the waste and then making a fruit tray out of what still looks good.
What did you guys think about the pig farmer? So he was kind of doing, like, he was importing all the trash, and he's like, pigs love the shit, which is true. But then I was like, man, that looks disgusting. Now I don't want to eat that pig. Like, that's kind of where my brain went. Like, he's like, that pig is eating mud. I know.
I mean,
I know.
You know, that's you might feel very different about a lot of things if you saw the entire process. But to me, that guy, smart. Everybody throws away their compost. It goes to a guy like that.
Yeah.
I mean, he's going to use it anyway. There has to be other people out there.
There has to be.
That could use this stuff. But it takes a little bit to be able to look at that stuff. I remember, you know, late 80s, early 90s, right? I'm 8, 9, 10 years old, and Fulton Market's 2 blocks north of us, and that's where all your butchers were, and those were still live kills back in the day. And
even in the 90s?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wow.
For sure. Not even until not that long ago. Wow. I think Latino Meats was the last one to move out, and they did live kills all the way to the end. And there would be these inedible boxes, the bones, the trimmings, and I'm talking like outside on the sidewalk, middle of June, middle of July.
Oh, stink.
I mean, but then the truck to come pick it up, and it would be like, you know, picked up and plopped in, and stuff's flying out, and the sound. I mean,
sounds like you're scarred by that.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, that's, you know, 30 years definitely. I haven't forgotten about it. So it also, I think, gives you a real appreciation for the food, where your stuff comes from, when you look at it from kind of like a behind the scenes kind of look that I grew up with naturally. It makes you appreciate a little bit more the person who's making your food, what they go through to get that done and put it on your plate.
Big time.
And, you know, at our store, there's not waste like that. We go through a ton of volume of stuff. In the beginning of my sandwich shop, you know, the bread was probably the biggest problem, because that's the thing you can't reuse the next day. And I remember reaching out to, like, you know, a homeless shelter or soup kitchen or food depository and stuff like that. And everything that they said in the documentary is exactly that. They're like, oh, we can't pick it up, or we can't take free donated food. And it's like,
they don't have the infrastructure to go through it.
Yeah, it costs them a ton of money to come and get it. Or if you drop it off, they can't take it from, you know what I mean? It's surprising that that really can't get figured out.
Well, that's one of those things I always thought was cool about your shop too. And it's just like, we're closed whenever we're out of bread. You know, like it's there's no like, once we're out, and then we'll see you tomorrow. So like, I always thought that was cool. Like, we're ordering this amount because we know we can sell that amount, and we're not going to waste it. So come get, you know, first come, first serve for these sandwiches. And after that, it's just over. So like, I always thought that was a very cool like policy that you had. And I could talk about this. I know we're running out of time.
Yeah.
So I feel like maybe we should do a part 2 about this at some point too. Maybe we'll come back next week.
Definitely.
Because I have some like conspiracy brain stuff going on about this big time. So, but yeah, it's a wild documentary, and it's just, you know, I don't know if I've ever told you this. I think I mentioned you. Like, my dream is to like be like a farmer rancher.
I've heard that.
Once I get done with whatever this phase of life is, I would love to make enough money to go out and like have my own little farm, my own little ranch, and see what you can do. Because it's like it does make you just feel like people really should be focused on buying local more. You know, like, you know, so you're going to cut down on some waste just by getting your stuff, because they made a point of that, being like, hey, like if you buy it from the store, it's already been harvested at least a week earlier.
Right.
So if you buy it from your guy in Illinois who brings it up to your Wicker Park farmers market, he harvested on Friday, he sold it to you on Saturday, or, you know, whatever, and you're gonna have a little bit more time to eat it, and it's gonna be fresher, and and I think that if we brought back kind of the small farmer, as opposed to these monocrops everywhere, that I think that would probably be a good start as like a national policy to kind of curb this issue. But we'll see.
What do you think about that?
It's a very good point. I used to go to a ton of farmers markets, Green City's farmer market, like Lincoln Park and stuff like that. And you're supporting the guy directly, you know, that my life has been taken care of, right? Like people seeking out a small independent place to shop, you're taking care of them as well. And it's more like that kind of, you know, I'll say all European, but my familiarities, and like in Italy, like, you know, you go to the market 2 or 3 times a day to buy what you're going to make for that meal. And it's like a lot of places, a lot of people still don't even have refrigerators or freezers or anything like that. They don't need it because they're going to walk down the block to the guy that sells the produce or the meat or whatever. They're going to buy what they need for the day, and then they're going to see you tomorrow to pick up whatever lunch and dinner is for that day. If, you know, it's hard to like change people's you know, just natural way of living of, you know, run to Mariano's and grab a bunch of stuff that you need. But that is a really good way to stay at home. And that conspiracy thing, not to jump back on that, but the thing I was most blown away on is the only, what did they say? The only government regulation is the
infant formula. That's crazy. I did not know that Best Buy dates and shit like that was not mandatory. The only that's
like a marketing
milk.
point,
I mean, that is why, and it's you know, we've obviously a ton of products that run through our store. Every single person has a different thing when it's made, or when it's Best Buy, or when it spoils, or
born on date.
But I mean, it's like, how is that not fully regulated? No questions, no like, you know, it should be like. If you eat this after December 15th, you're going to get sick. Period. The end. Make it super simple from everybody across every single product.
I'll do you one better. I knew a guy with my old job, like we ran in similar circles, but that bag of chips, okay, let's say that has an expiration date, whatever, it doesn't sell, okay, and they'll get it only from distributors, right? So if a distributor has a box, it's like, fuck, they'll go and sell it to other international markets that don't give a fuck about the date. So Americans like, oh, that's a day old, it's bad.
Right.
Send it to Saudi Arabia. Send it to like, and that's what they do. And if you look at like when this policy of like taking our old stuff and exporting it, the obesity rates in Saudi Arabia and these other Middle Eastern countries that are importing like this shitty food has skyrocketed since like 95, when people started realizing like, hey, people still like American stuff, and this is a new part of the world that hasn't had a ton of exposure to America, you know, in a positive light, but it's still kind of cool, McDonald's, whatever. So they'll take those Lay's potato chips and send them over there and like either change, like have a different print for a different label to change the date, but it's that same bag of chips they just didn't have time to sell here. And then now it's like they're having the same kind of health issues in those countries that we had here, because they're eating all our old food.
Crazy, man. And I think we'll do another one, because I know it sucks, we're a little short today, but if anyone out there, if you have a good food related one, that's why I like having you on with this, because you have personal experience.
No, it's great.
So this one was directly towards you, I guess, a little bit in some ways.
No, I liked it. You sent me that thing, I jumped on it right away that night, and
I thought it was enjoyable too, like hour 15.
It was a good one. And I like when people, a documentary like this where people like really dedicate their life to like do it, even like that guy who like only ate McDonald's for a month or whatever it was. Like when somebody really
Super Size Me guy.
That's I mean that's real deal dedication, and you can tell that they're very passionate about it. And
do you know who Joel Salatin is? Joel Salatin.
Name doesn't ring a bell.
He's my favorite farmer. So I'll send us a documentary that's kind of based around that guy and how he farms and how he got into it. But he's like a brilliant guy who looks like a yokel, like looks like you're, old MacDonald had a farm, like straw hat, the whole thing. But he's like a brilliant guy.
I mean, I got to bring up how you just have a favorite farmer. Like,
is that the guy with the bow tie and the overalls?
He does wear overalls, yeah. Often. Bigger dude, yeah. Glasses.
Bow tie? Oh, no,
I don't think he has got a bow tie.
All right, either way. Sorry.
But you think I'm joking? You think I'm joking about wanting? I've done research.
Legit.
Like I really do want to have this my next phase of life.
And a huge compost thing in the back.
Fuck yeah, that's right.
Easy
for sure. But no, Jim, thanks for stopping in. Go get the beef kids. TasteRealChicago.com. When are you guys close for the holidays?
We run it all the way through. So we stick with the Tuesday through Saturday schedule. We're open until 2 o'clock on Christmas Eve, right? Which is Friday, next Friday. Mm-hmm. Obviously, close Christmas Day. Back the New Year's week, open all the way till 2 o'clock, half day for Friday, New Year's Eve. We're closed New Year's Day, and then close the first 2 full weeks of January. Give the guys a nice long rest, take a deep breath, come back, start back at the bottom of the mountain, try and do it all over again. So, but these 2 weeks are super busy for us. A ton of antipasti trays. Mm-hmm. Great idea to bring to family parties, Christmas Eve, New Year's Eve. Christmas Eve is always a real fun time at our stores. There's a lot of old school customers that come and shop that, used to be super regular guys. Now it's a little harder to get down to the city or don't drive or whatever the situation may be. And then, Italians start making wine in October because by Christmas it's ready to drink. Mm-hmm. Supersata was made. That's a year aged. So like every guy walks in with a bottle of homemade wine.
Damn.
Pieces of Supersata.
That's awesome.
Music's pumping. We get the glasses out. We're pouring wine all day. Some of my best memories at a store are definitely on Christmas Eve. So I'm happy to keep that going. And, if anybody needs a little antipasti tray to bring the showstopper into the holidays for Christmas Eve or New Year's Eve.
Hooked me up with that in the past.
Yeah, it works, man, right?
Big hit.
And the cannoli dip. Don't sleep on that.
Cannoli dip. That's a huge thing for the holidays. So for all that stuff, jpgraziano.com, or just come into the shop, give me a call, give me an email. We'll get you all set up.
I don't want to overwhelm you, but go into the shop. Like, I love that store. I just love the store. I love, you walk in, it's like Eddie and I always talk about how great it would be to, have a time machine just to, see how life was.
Oh, man.
You get a taste of that when you walk into your store. It just looks like old world. Like Capone could have walked through there. It's cool.
I think he did a couple times.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
I'd be first in line for that one, man. If I could see how that place was run way before I was around, it would really be something.
Yeah.
And that's honestly, you could talk all you want about the sandwiches, how great the food is and stuff like that. When somebody says something like that to me, that's the highest compliment, because it's a fine line to walk to run an 84-year-old business, make people who've been shopping at your store for, or their families 3 or 4 or 5 generations at this point, make them feel like nothing's ever changed, but be able to do business with the guy who just moved into the West Loop, who's 22 years old and needs to order on his phone. And we take care of everybody in between there. We were shut down, at least walk-in, obviously a long time through COVID. I think it was 18 or 19 months. And I can't tell you how happy I was to reopen that shop in September, get people walking back in. And so many new customers that came to us during COVID, I hear all the time, man, it's my first time inside the store. And, you're in our home.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to sound cliche or anything like that. Like, that place is everything to us. And
you employ your mom and your sister. So,
I think mom employs me.
Yeah. Well, however you want to say it. But I love, and everyone is so friendly. Like, we get treated so well there. But when you order your sandwich, you go to checkout and you go to the and you pay at that old office, the old register, and it's either your mom or your sister back there, and it's just like, man, I love this place, and it's just so I don't. Again, I know you said you're super busy during the holidays, but
bring it.
If you have an opportunity to get to the store, go to the store.
901 West Randolph. TasteRealChicago.com. Jim, thank you. We'll get another food when we'll bring it back in soon.
Thanks, Ed.
As always. That's it for today, everybody. We'll see you next time.